Welcome back to the Pan Am Cup Live if you're joining us after our first session earlier today. And if you're just joining us now, welcome to the Pan Am Cup Live. I'm your host, Richard Mason. I'm based in Canada, but we have athletes and technical officials joining us online, live, for the very first time, an International Weightlifting Federation event with the Pan American Weightlifting Federation. This is the first ever international online-only weightlifting competition. We have athletes from North America, South America, Central America, and the Caribbean competing against each other in real time from their own homes, their training centers, gyms, or wherever they can find a set of weights and a platform. Now, this will be the women's 59 kilo session, as well as the women's 64 kilo session. It's time to meet the athletes. Representing Mexico in the 59 kilo category, Kisia Guicho. Representing Uruguay in the 59 kilo category, Rito Inoxin. Representing Ecuador in the 59 kilo category, Maria Escobar Guerrero. In the 59 kilo category from Venezuela, Yusledis Figueroa. From Puerto Rico, Gilielis Guzman. Now, in the 64 kilo category. In the 64 kilo category, we have Maria Camilla Lobon representing Colombia. In the 64 kilo category from Peru, Eldi Paredes. Also representing Colombia in the 64 kilo categories, Rosiv Silgado. Representing Canada in the 64 kilo category, Maude Charon. These are the athletes that you'll see performing here today. Now, the referees for this session are representative of the International Weightlifting Federation referees from around the world. We have representing Kingdom of Bahrain, Ali Abdullah. From Great Britain, Caroline Charles. From Nigeria, Lawrence Ikwabum. And representing France, Jean-Luc Schatz. We have a timekeeper. His name is Bowen Stewart, and he's all the way in Australia. He will also jump in and judge if required, if we can't get a signal from our 4 referees from around the world. We'll also be joined by my companion, my compatriot, Italo Baratini. He will be doing our Spanish-speaking announcements so that the athletes in the Pan American region get the information they need in both of the official languages of the Pan American Weightlifting Federation. This is a different competition. This is the first time that anybody's ever tried to do an international competition online. So we've had to do a few things a little bit differently. There's no jury, so there are no challenge cards. There are no reversals that you would normally see during an International Weightlifting Federation event. And that's just one thing that makes this whole thing a little bit different. The first online Pan Am Cup Live, brought to you by ZKC, is a development project co-organized by the International Weightlifting Federation and the Pan American Weightlifting Federation. Now, the barbell company, ZKC, has joined us as a strategic partner. The goal is to promote real, live, and worldwide participation from our athletes from all over the world. Each lifter will have a camera set up in front of them at a certain distance. It'll be able to show the referees everything they need to see, the full extension, the feet, everything they need to see to be able to correctly judge that lift. We have athletes competing today from the PANAM region and beyond. Each lifter, like usual, will perform 3 attempts in the snatch and then 3 attempts in the clean and jerk. We have athletes who will be adding up their totals. So the best snatch from each athlete will be added to the best clean and jerk from each athlete, and that will determine the total. Each athlete will be trying to get a medal in the snatch, in the clean and jerk, and in the total. This is a different and fun experiment in competition, and it's all due to the restrictions that have been placed on us by the medical situation around the globe, and we're doing our best to try and find a way to continue to have weightlifting in a time of social distancing and severe restrictions on travel. Now, how this is going to work is just before each of the rounds, there will be rounds here. Each of the athlete will have a 2-minute clock begin. Now, that 2-minute period is for all of the athletes to make the necessary changes in their attempts. Each athlete and each coach has 2 changes. No changes will be accepted outside of the 2-minute window. We have found that during our first attempt at this with the lighter weight athletes earlier this morning, that we did have some technology problems. And if the athlete had submitted the attempt before, we were being a little bit lenient in making sure that just because we got it a little late, it wasn't necessarily submitted late by the athlete or the coach. Once the attempts are set for the round, each athlete will lift in turn. So the first snatch will go through all of the athletes in the snatch for their first attempt. Then there will be a 2-minute break with another modification period before we go through all of the athletes for their second attempt. We'll return again for the third attempt after a 2-minute break, and then we'll take a 10-minute break or so between the snatch and the clean and jerk, and we'll follow with the round systems through the clean and jerk as well. The athlete attempts are reordered every time. So we go from the lightest weight to the heaviest weight in each round. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then after all of that, we continue with the clean and jerk. As not all of the normal weightlifting rules are being applied to this event, we have made an exception for records. Since this isn't exactly being run as a normal International Weightlifting Federation event will be run, we cannot accept any records that are set during this. We also can't accept this event as a qualifier for other events. So athletes who do really well in this event cannot carry that total into their qualification for the Tokyo Olympics or any other event. Virtual gold, silver, and bronze medals will be presented. We'll have a little medal ceremony after this session for the totals in the both 59 and 64 kilo categories, but actual medals will be sent out to the athletes and in through the mail, and we will also send to every one of the athletes who participate in this, medalist or not, a certificate thanking them for taking part in this, a unique experiment on the World Wide Web of the first online Pan American Cup. We're just a few moments away. Let's see if we can see how the progress is going with the athletes around. The scoreboard says 1 minute. It says that we have 70 kilos on the bar. Looks like it's time for us to call our first athlete. Sofia Rito, Uruguay. Uruguay, Rito.
El primer llamado con 70 kilos es para Sofía Rito, de Uruguay.
Ja. Bra start. Håll upp. Kom igen nu. Kom igen nu!
Men. Ja.
Ner.
Rito's lift is a good lift at 70 kilos. That is our first attempt of the second session, and it is a good lift. Now, we need 75 kilos on the bar. We're going to go to our next athlete, which is Quicio of Mexico, 75 kilos first attempt.
75 kilos para Quicia Guicho de México.
That is a good lift for Kisio Gicho.
Movimiento válido.
Now, 75 kilos is still the weight. Maria Camila Lobon, Colombia, 75 kilos, please.
75 kilos para María Camila Lobón, de Colombia.
Colombia, 75 kilos.
75 kilos.
That is a good lift for Lebon. Good lift, 75 kilos. Staying with 75 kilos. Staying with 75, LD Paredes, Peru. This is attempt number 1.
Se mantienen los 75 kilos para Elvi Paredes, de Perú.
Llaman a la peruana ahorita.
That is a good lift. LD Paredes, Peru, 75 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Elvi Paredes.
75 kilos is behind us. Our next attempt is calling for 80 kilos. 80 kilos, Gililis Guzman. This is the first attempt for her in the snatch.
80 kilos para Gisledis Guzmán, de Puerto Rico.
That's a good lift for Guzman, Puerto Rico, 80 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Guzmán.
Still with 80 kilos. In the 64 kilo group, we're asking for the first attempt from Colombia's Rosiv Silgado.
Llamado con 80 kilos para Rosib Silgado, de Colombia.
Rosiv Silgado, 80 kilos. That was her first attempt. No lift. A majority decision says no lift for Silgado. No lift.
Movimiento nulo para Silgado.
Bear with us a moment. We're having a technical issue. There we go. Silgado, no lift at 80 kilos. 84 kilos now. Nancy Sema, first attempt in the snatch, 64 kilo category, representing Nicaragua. Sema.
84 kilos para Nancy Sima de Nicaragua.
Llama Sema.
No, no la han llamado hasta ahorita, vamos.
Ya está, ya te digo.
Hola, habla Camila,
Nicaragua.
80 kilos.
Vamos, vamos, vamos. Oye, ¿qué está hablando? Vamos, Sema. Dura, dura, pues vamos. Vale, vale.
Sema's lift is a good lift at 84 kilos. Good lift.
Movimiento válido.
We need 88 kilos. This is the first attempt in the 59 kilo category for Ecuador's Maria Escobar. Escobar, 88 kilos.
88 kilos para María Alexandra Escobar de Ecuador.
Escobar's lift, 88 kilos, is a good lift.
Movimiento válido.
Our next weight is 90 kilos. 90 kilos for Venezuela's 59 kilo athlete, Yusletis Figueroa. First attempt.
90 kilos para Yuslady Figueroa de Venezuela.
Once again, a reminder to the coaches that there's a 2-minute modification period at the end of this. A 2-minute modification period. Please get all your changes in the 2-minute period. A quick lift and a wave. Good lift for Venezuela, 90 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Yuslady Figueroa con 90 kilos.
Our final attempt belongs to 64 kilo athlete representing Canada, Maud Charon.
Llamados para Maud Charon de Canadá con 98 kilos.
Premier essai, Charon de Canada, 98. And that is a good lift for Charon of Canada. Now,
Movimiento válido para Charon.
we're going to start our 2-minute modification period. The clock will tick down. Each athlete has 2 minutes to make their changes. Obviously, as per IWF rules, each athlete who is successful starts with another kilo in their next attempt. If they were not successful, they will start with the same kilos in their next attempt. But they have 2 minutes to make their up to 2 changes. Let's recap where we're at so far. After the first round, 90 kilos was the best lift achieved in the women's 59 kilo category. That belongs to Yusledis Figueroa. She's followed close behind, 2 kilos less for Maria Escobar of Ecuador with 88 kilos. Third place right now belongs to Puerto Rico and Gilielis Guzman, where she has 80 kilos. In the running, Kisia Guicho of Mexico with 75 kilos, and she's followed by Uruguay's Rito, who has 70 kilos. If we take a look down on the scoreboard at the 64 kilo category, we have 98 kilos successful for Maud Charon on her first attempt. She's followed behind by Nicaragua and 84 kilos for Nancy Sema. 75 kilos is owned by both Colombia's Maria Lobon and Eldi Paredes of Peru. The only miss so far in our competition has been the 80 kilos for Rosiv Salgado in her first attempt. The changes are starting to come in. We have a separate channel where that's away from the competition, so you can't necessarily see the communication that goes on between the athletes and coaches and the people who are in charge of our technology. But the changes are coming in fast and furious for this next group of snatches in the women's 59 kilo and women's 64 kilo Group A session snatch portion. About 5 seconds remaining before we start. Let's see if all the changes are in. And the modification period has expired. 80 kilos is being requested. That's our lightest weight. It looks like there are probably still a couple of changes to come in, but I think it's safe to say that we can start. I don't think it's safe to say that we can start with 80 kilos. I'd like to see a change from Uruguay. If the change from Uruguay is in, it will probably be the lightest, as the Uruguayan athlete started with the lightest attempt in the first. There we go. It is now in. 73 kilos, please, for Sofia Rito, Uruguay. This is her second attempt in the snatch. 73 kilos, Rito, Uruguay.
73 kilos para Sofía Rito de Uruguay en su segundo intento.
Är vi? Jag säger ner. Ja, kom igen nu. Ja, nu ska vi ha.
Kom igen nu.
Håll upp i starten. Kom igen nu. Kom igen nu. Håll upp.
Yes.
Håll upp.
Rito's attempt is a no lift at 73 kilos.
Movimiento nulo para Sofía.
She will have a third attempt in the snatch to come. Now that 73 kilos is behind us, our next weight appears to be 80 kilos, which means we'll call from Mexico, Kisia Guicho, second attempt, 80 kilos.
80 kilos para el segundo intento de Kisia Guicho de México.
Guicho's lift, 3 white lights, good lift.
Movimiento válido.
Our next attempt also at 80 kilos. We're moving now down into the 64 kilo category athletes. Representing Colombia, second attempt, Maria Lobon.
80 kilos para María Lobón de Colombia.
Vamos. Siente hacia arriba.
LeBon's 80 kilo lift is a good lift. Good lift.
Movimiento válido.
Loaders, we still need 80 kilos. We're going to call for the only junior age athlete in this session, representing Peru, Eldi Paredes. 80 kilos.
80 kilos para Elvi Paredes de Perú.
Eldi Paredes, 80 kilos, second attempt in the snatch. That was a good lift.
Movimiento válido.
We're moving now to 83 kilos for Colombia and Rosiv Silgado.
83 kilos para Rosif Salgado de Colombia. Segundo intento.
Silgado's lift is a good lift, 3 white lights at 83 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Rosif Salgado.
Our next attempt is 85 kilos, and that belongs to the 59 kilo athlete from Puerto Rico, Gilles Guzman.
Gislady Guzmán de Puerto Rico con 85 kilos.
No lift. Guzman, 85 kilos. No lift.
Movimiento nulo.
Loaders in Nicaragua. We need 88 kilos on the bar. 88 kilos, Nancy Sema, Nicaragua, second attempt.
Nicaragua. Nancy,
Vamos, vamos.
con 88 kilos.
Vamos, vamos. Aprieta, vamos, Sema, aprieta, vamos. Venga, vamos, vamos, vamos. Ya, bájela.
No lift for Nancy Sema at 88 kilos. No lift.
Movimiento nulo.
88 kilos is behind us. 92 kilos is our next weight. 92 kilos for Maria Escobar, Ecuador. Attempt number 2.
92 kilos para María Alexandra Escobar de Ecuador.
Escobar's lift, good lift, 92 kilos. Next weight. Sorry, Italo. Next weight is 95 kilos. Yusledis Figueroa.
Siguiente movimiento, 94 kilos para Yuslady Figueroa de Venezuela. 95, perdón.
Once again, a reminder that the athletes will have 2 minutes to make all of their changes during the modification period. All changes must be made before the conclusion of the modification period. That's 2 minutes time.
Venga, rico, rico.
A happy crowd in Venezuela for Yusledis Figueroa, good lift.
Movimiento válido para Yuslady.
Our final attempt in the snatch in the second round belongs to Canada. Maude Charon, 102 kilos.
El último movimiento son 102 kilos para Maude Charon de Canadá.
112 kilos. Deuxième essai, Canada. Majority decision says good lift for Charon, Canada, 102 kilos.
Movimiento válido.
The modification period now begins. The athletes have 2 minutes to make all their necessary changes for round 3 in the snatch portion of the women's 59 and 64 kilo Group A session. Let's recap. In the 49 kilo category, the best lift so far has been the 95 kilos by Yusledis Figueroa of Venezuela, followed by 92 kilos from Maria Escobar of Ecuador. After that, the next athletes are number 80 kilos for Puerto Rico and Gilles Guzman. She wins the tiebreaker over Kisia Guicho, also lifting 80 kilos, but Guzman's 80 kilos came first. And followed our 5th place contestant so far in the first 59 kilo snatch portion belongs to Uruguay and 70 kilos on her first attempt. Now, if we take a look down at the bottom portion of the scoreboard, the women's 64 kilo category, Maude Charon of Canada is our leader with a 102 kilo snatch. She's followed by 84 kilos from Nancy Sema of Nicaragua, made on attempt number 1. 83 kilos from Rosiv Silgado of Colombia places her currently in 3rd place. We have 2 athletes with the exact same numbers so far, 75 on their first attempt, 80 kilos on their second attempt, and that is Maria Lobon and Eldi Paredes of Peru. Lobon would have lifted before Paredes, so Lobon is currently in 4th position with Paredes in our 5th spot. All our changes are coming in. Once again, all the athletes have is 2 minutes to make all their necessary changes before each round, and this will be round number 3 in the snatch. It does not look like all of the changes have been entered into the system yet, but I think it is safe to say that 73 kilos for Sofia Rito of Uruguay would be the amount that she's requested. She failed at 73 kilos on her second attempt. So 73 kilos for Rito of Uruguay looks like a fair bet. The other numbers all seem to be consistent, so let's call our first athlete. Representing Uruguay, round 3 in the snatch, Sofia Rito, 73 kilos.
73 kilos
Kom
para
igen nu.
Sofía.
Fabian. Yes, kom igen nu. Räta kroppen. Ja, kom igen nu. Ja.
Kom igen nu.
Håll. Ah.
Rito lost that off the back, no lift.
Movimiento nulo para Sofía.
She finishes with the 70 kilos made on her first attempt in the snatch. Our next weight is 84 kilos for a 64 kilo athlete. Representing Peru, 84 kilos, Eldi Paredes.
84 kilos para Eldi Paredes de Perú.
Vamos. Vamos. Duro.
No lift. Paredes, 84 kilos. She finishes the snatch portion with 80 kilos made on attempt 2.
Movimiento nulo para la deportista peruana.
We now need 85 kilos, please. 85 kilos, a number of athletes calling for this weight. Up first, representing Mexico, will be Kisia Guicho. Guicho, Mexico, 85 kilos, third attempt.
85 kilos para el tercer intento de Kisia Guicho de México.
That is 3 white lights for Guicho of Mexico.
Movimiento válido.
85 kilos is still the weight. We're going to call for her third attempt. Gilgilis Guzman, Puerto Rico, 85 kilos.
85 kilos para Gileadis Guzmán de Puerto Rico.
No lift. Guzman, 85 kilos.
Movimiento nulo para la deportista de Puerto Rico.
We're moving to 88 kilos now. 2 athletes calling for this weight. The 2 athletes are Rosiv Silgado, 88 kilos. This is her third and final attempt. Sema, next.
88 para Rosita se prepara Nancy Sema de Nicaragua.
Ya, Rosy, ya.
Vamos, mami. Sigue el jalón. Pegadita a la barra y sigue. Levante la cabeza. Sigue el movimiento. ¡Síguelo! ¡Sigue!
No lift for Silgado at 88 kilos.
Movimiento nulo.
Still with 88 kilos, we're going to call from Nicaragua, Nancy Sema. Sema, 88 kilos, final attempt.
Mantenemos 88 kilos para Nancy Sema de Nicaragua.
Ahora sí. Vamos, concentrada, nena. Ahora sí, vámonos. ¡Vamos! ¡Violenta la salida!
No lift for Sema, also at 88 kilos.
Movimiento nulo.
Difícil, así es mentira.
We're headed to Colombia now. 89 kilos placed on the bar, a 9-kilo jump for her third attempt of Maria Lobon.
89 kilos para María Lobón de Colombia.
Son casi 20 minutos. Perdón, cada 15 minutos por ronda.
Si falla esta muchacha,
Hay que buscar
tenemos la plata.
Vamos.
para-
Que no fueron. Yo puse en el día ese que era una charla. Pero todo no estaba siendo efectivo. Tienda. Ojalá que mejorara. Solo enredo, no estoy fallando las puertorriqueñas y las colombianas. Ah. Falló.
Good lift on a 9-kilo increase, Lobon.
Movimiento válido para Lobón.
We need more weight. We need 95 kilos, and we're headed off to Ecuador for the final attempt of Maria Escobar. 95 kilos, Escobar.
95 kilos para el último intento de María Alexandra Escobar de Ecuador.
Ya van a comenzar el envío.
10 minutos.
Pero, y ahí está bueno.
No, pero no le hacen. No enredo.
No lift for Escobar at 95 kilos.
Movimiento nulo para Escobar.
98 kilos now. Venezuela, third attempt, Yusleidis Figueroa.
Yo digo cuando.
98 kilos para Yusley.
Ahora correr técnica, trabajo para eso, ¿de acuerdo? Ok, cuando quieras. Cuando quieras. Vamos, firme abajo, firme abajo. Vamos. Vamos, chicos. Vamos, música, pues.
Rico, rico, vamos.
Ahí está la rama. Vamos, vamos, sabroso esa vaina.
No lift, Figueroa, 98 kilos. One attempt remaining in the snatch portion of this session. It belongs to Canada. It belongs to Maude Charon. Troisième essai, 105 kilos, Charon.
El llamado es con 105 kilos para Mosé Charon de Canadá.
Non complete, no lift, Charon, Canada, 105 kilos.
Movimiento nulo.
We're going to take our break now. We have 10 minutes scheduled between the snatch and the clean and jerk in this portion. We have an interview with a member of the Puerto Rican Olympic Committee, and we're going to try and play that now. It did run long, so we will have to cut out of it a little bit early, but we're going to attempt to put this up while we wait. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in about 10 minutes time for the remainder of this session.
Muchas gracias. En 10 minutos seguimos con el envión.
Once again, it's my understanding that we're having some audio difficulties. Please bear with us for just a few moments. My apologies. We're going to see if we can remedy this as quickly as possible. This is probably an operator error, and just bear with us. Welcome back. The modification period has begun for the athletes to get ready for the clean and jerk. We have a 10-minute break between the snatch and the clean and jerk. Now the women in the 59 kilo Group A session and the women in the 64 kilo Group A session can make any changes. What happens at weigh-in, which happens about 2 hours before this competition began, was the athletes made a declaration. They stated what they thought their first attempt would be in the snatch and their first attempt would be in the clean and jerk. And now they have their first chance to make any changes they want to those numbers in the clean and jerk. There is a 20 kilo rule, is what we call it, rule 6.5.5 in the rule book, which says what numbers the athletes can enter. So if they've said that they're going to lift, say, 200 kilos, they have to be within 20 kilos of that with their first attempts and in the snatch and in the clean and jerk. The clock is got about 1 minute left for the final changes of the modification period for the athletes in their clean and jerk. It looks like in the our first place contestant after the snatch in the women's 59 kilo category was 95 kilos, put up by Yusledis Figueroa. She's followed at 92 kilos by Maria Escobar, and the bronze medalist would be 85 kilos for Kisia Guicho. In the 64 kilo category, our best snatch was 102 kilos by Canada's Maud Charon, made on her second attempt. Close race behind her, though. 85 kilos for Maria Lebon, as she went 3 for 3 in the snatch. Just 1 kilo less is Nancy Sema, but don't count out LD Paredes or Rosiv Silgado. They're just a kilogram or 2 behind. The modification period is wrapping up, and we have 85 kilos on the bar. We're going to call our first athlete in the clean and jerk, 85 kilos, is Sofia Rito of Uruguay, 85 kilos. She'll be followed by Guicho of Mexico.
85 kilos de la barra para el primer intento de Sofía Rito.
Ya, ya. Sama corta. Ja. Så kvar. Så. Ja. Det.
No lift for Rito. Majority decision says no lift at 85 kilos.
Movimiento nulo, fallo dividido.
Our next athlete, our next attempt appears to be 100 kilos. 100 kilos for Kisia Guicho of Mexico. So many athletes are calling for 100 kilos. It almost looks like it might be a mistake. But Guicho of Mexico, 100 kilos, first attempt.
100 kilos en la barra para el primer intento de Kisia Guicho de México.
That is a good lift. Good lift for Guicho.
Movimiento válido.
100 kilos is still the weight. We're going to call our next athlete. Representing Puerto Rico, Gilielis Guzman.
Los mismos 100 kilos para Gilielis Guzmán de Puerto Rico.
Good lift for Guzman, 100 kilos. Good lift.
Movimiento válido.
Loaders, we need 100 kilos, representing Colombia in the 64 kilo category. First attempt in the clean and jerk, Maria Lobón.
Los mismos 100 kilos para María Camila Lobón de Colombia.
Vamos.
Los mismos 100 kilos para María Camila Lobón de Colombia.
Veloz, por el pecho.
That's a good lift for Lobón at 100 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Lobón.
Next athlete also calling for 100 kilos, Eldi Paredes, Peru. First attempt in the clean and jerk.
Mantenemos los mismos 100 kilos para Eldi Paredes de Perú.
Once again, a reminder to the athletes that changes are not going to be accepted except for in the 2-minute modification period. 2-minute modification period is for changes. This is a different system, and we're all trying to get used to it. That is a no lift for Eldi Paredes, 100 kilos, no lift.
Movimiento nulo para Eldi Paredes.
Our next athlete also calling for 100 kilos, Rosiv Silgado, Colombia. First attempt in the clean and jerk.
Primer intento con 100 kilos para Rosip Silgado de Colombia.
Dale. Vamos. Vamos. Vas a rápido los codos. Busca alto.
Derechita, ¿no?
Derechita y atrás.
Firme.
Firme.
That's a good lift for Silgado at 100 kilos.
Movimiento válido.
We still need more weight. 105 kilos now for Nancy Sema. Nancy Sema, 105 kilos. This is her first attempt in the clean and jerk, representing Nicaragua.
105 kilos para la deportista de Nicaragua, Nancy Sema.
Sema. ¿Ya? ¿Ya? Ya, hermano, Sema. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Vamos, Sema, vamos, Sema.
Déjalo todo, mucho valor. Grandísima, espalda trancada. Vamos, mi negra. ¿Sí? Facilísimo. Ahora empújalo.
Tranquila, tranquila, eso es.
That's a good lift for Nancy Sema, 105 kilos.
Movimiento válido.
108 kilos being requested by Maria Escobar of Ecuador. This will be her first attempt in the clean and jerk. Maria Escobar, Ecuador.
108 kilos para María Alexandra Escobar de Ecuador.
No. 22, 30, 9, 18. Ahora 20.
That's a good lift for Escobar at 108 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Ecuador.
We need 115 kilos now. We're headed to Venezuela for Yusledis Figueroa, her final attempt, or the final attempt in the 49 or the 59 kilo class. Figueroa, Venezuela. This is the final attempt in the first round for the 59 kilo class.
115 kilos para Lady Figueroa. Venezuela.
Ah, ya dice, cuando quiera. No, abajo.
Vamos, niña, vamos.
Bien alto, velocidad de escoba hacia arriba. Fuerte de espalda.
Rico, rico, vamos.
Tranquila, tranquila. Respira, cambia. Bien, y entra rápido. Entra con velocidad.
Vamos, 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 vamos. Atrás, atrás de una vez.
¡Abre!
No lift. First attempt, Figueroa.
Movimiento nulo.
Off to Canada now for 120 kilos. First attempt, Maud Charon.
120 kilos para el primer intento de Maud Charon de Canadá.
Premier essai, Canada, 120 kilos. Charon. Good lift, Charon, Canada, 120 kilos.
Válido.
Now is the time for the coaches and the athletes to submit their changes. The 2-minute modification period begins now. Let's take a look and see what we've seen so far in the clean and jerk. A lot more red in this than we expected to see in the first round with the snatch portion of this session. It was every lift was made except for one, 9 out of 10. In this case, we've got 7 out of 10 successful lifts. In the 59 kilo Group A session, our best lift is 108 kilos performed by Maria Escobar. 100 kilos was successful for both Kicia Guicho of Mexico and Gilles Guzman of Puerto Rico. We have red marks against Rito of Uruguay at 85 kilos and 150 kilos for Yusledis Figueroa. If we head down to the 64 kilo Group A session, 4 out of 5 good lifts. 120 kilos, the best lift for Maud Charon of Canada, followed by 105 kilos lifted by Nancy Sema of Nicaragua. 100 kilos was successful for 2 of our athletes and not for the third. Maria Lobon of Colombia hit 100 first, followed by Rosiv Silgado, also of Colombia, with success at 100 kilos. But the junior age athlete, LD Paredes of Peru, did not complete 100 kilos. It looks like that may be where she starts in the second round. All of our changes, 30 seconds remaining in the modification period for our athletes. So that means they've got 30 more seconds to submit their 1 to 2 changes after their automatic increase. This is the first ever online international weightlifting competition, the PANAM Cup Live online by ZKC, and we thank you for taking the time to join us today. The modification period is over. We have 88 kilos being requested for the second attempt. Representing Uruguay, Sofía Rito.
88 kilos para el segundo intento de Sofía Rito de Uruguay.
Kom igen nu.
Kom igen. Ja, kom igen.
Samma klipp.
Stenhårt.
Okej.
No lift for Rito at 88 kilos.
Movimiento nulo.
We need 100 kilos. 100 kilos for Eldi Paredes of Peru. She will be the next athlete. Paredes, Peru, 100 kilos.
100 kilos para Eldi Paredes de Perú.
Referees say good lift on a majority decision, 2 out of 3, good lift. Paredes.
Movimiento válido.
We're heading to 105 kilos once again in the women's 64 kilo category. This will be the second attempt of Maria Lobon, Colombia, 105 kilos.
105 kilos para el segundo intento de María Camila Lobón de Colombia.
Guzman to follow.
Se prepara Guzmán de Puerto Rico.
Again in the 64 kilo category, the second attempt of Maria Lobon, 105 kilos. Guzman to follow.
Duro, duro, vamos. Veloz, todos. Arriba, arriba. Derecha. Va.
Good lift. 3 white lights. Lobon, 105.
Movimiento válido para Lobón.
We need another kilo. 106 kilos. Gililis Guzman, Puerto Rico, second attempt in the clean and jerk.
106 kilos para Gilgelis Guzmán de Puerto Rico.
Good lift. 106 kilos. Good lift.
Movimiento
We now. My apologies. My apologies. We now need more. We need 110 kilos. This now for Quisia Guicho, Mexico.
subimos a 110 kilos para Quisia Guicho de México.
Good lift at 110 kilos.
Movimiento válido.
111 kilos is the new weight. The athlete representing Nicaragua. This will be attempt number 2 for Nancy Sema. Oh, correction. My apologies. My screen covered this one up. Rosiv Silgado, Colombia, 110 kilos.
Colombia.
Silgado, Colombia, 110 kilos.
La llamada Rosy Silgado de Colombia con 110 kilos.
Vamos, Emma, hay que darle a él.
¿Está preparado ya va?
Viene, bien. Se escucha. Falta uno, bien, bien.
Dale.
¿Qué nos va?
Rápido,
Derecha.
saque la pierna. Atrás. Atrás la barra. Quieta. Vamos.
Good lift for Silgado at 110 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Silgado.
Our next athlete is calling for 111 kilos, representing Nicaragua, Nancy Sema.
Ahora sí el llamado es para Nancy Sema de Nicaragua con 111 kilos.
That is a good lift, Sema, 111 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Nicaragua.
113 kilos is being requested for Maria Escobar of Ecuador. This will be her second attempt in the clean and jerk in the 59 kilo class.
113 kilos para María Alexandra Escobar de Ecuador.
Sí, está bueno.
Good lift, 113 kilos, Escobar.
Movimiento válido.
115 kilos, please. Yusledis Figueroa, Venezuela, second attempt in the clean and jerk.
115 kilos para el segundo intento de Yuslady Figueroa de Venezuela.
Ahora, cuando quieras. No te confíes. Los codos y fuerte la espalda. Duro. Duro para atrás de las piernas. Tranquilita. Ahí va duro y tranquila.
Good lift, Figueroa, 115 kilos.
Movimiento válido para Figueroa.
One attempt remaining in the women's 64 kilo clean and jerk, round 2. It belongs to Maud Charon, Canada, 125 kilos, second attempt.
Esperemos. Pone 14. Después revisamos
Para
cuánto
seguir
le
el
ponen a
tiempo
la
de Mo
categoría
Charon
media.
de Canadá.
That's a good lift for Canada and Maud Charon, 125 kilos.
Movimiento válido.
Once again, the modification period begins now. 2 minutes is being placed on the clock. This will be the opportunity for the athletes and coaches to make changes to their next attempt. We had a more successful round there in round number 2 in the clean and jerk with 9 out of 10 lifts successful. The only miss being the 88 kilos of Sofia Rito of Uruguay on the first attempt. After that, we went 9-4-9. Let's see exactly where we are in the standings here. The best clean and jerk so far belongs to 115 kilos of Yuslades Figueroa in the 59 kilo category. After that, 113 kilos, 2 kilos behind is Maria Escobar. With 110 kilos, we have Kisia Guicho. And then with 106 kilos, Gilielis Guzman of Puerto Rico. And she's followed by Sofia Rito, who still does not have a successful attempt in the clean and jerk. When we switch down to the 64 kilo category, 125 kilos, Maud Charon is ahead by 15 kilos. Behind her is Rosif Silgado, successful at 110 kilos. Just in front of her, in the silver spot, is Nancy Sema of Nicaragua. So it's Charon, followed by Sema, and then Rosif Silgado at 110 kilos. With 105 kilos made on her second attempt, Maria Lobon of Colombia, and 100 kilos successful on her second attempt is Eldi Paredes. The athletes still have about 30 seconds to submit all of their changes during the modification period. I can see that they're starting to come in, and the scoreboard is making a lot of changes before we start the third session in the clean and jerk. If you're just joining us, this is the women's 59 and 64 kilo category, Group A of the online PANAM Cup Live by ZKC. The modification period has expired. The weights are in. 90 kilos is on the bar in Uruguay. This is the third attempt. Sofia Rito, Uruguay, 90 kilos.
Sofía Rito de Uruguay.
Vänta. Ja, korrekt. Smäll dit den nu. Kom igen.
Med nu.
Okej.
Håll den.
No lift called on Rito on her final attempt in the clean and jerk, 90 kilos. She goes 1 for 6 today with a successful snatch at 70 kilos, and everything else was red for her today. Our next athlete, 106 kilos for Maria Lobon in the 64 kilo category. This is her third attempt.
María Lobón con 106 kilos de Colombia.
With a successful snatch at 70 kilos, everything else was red today. Our next athlete, 106 kilos for Maria Lobon in the 64 kilo category. This is her third attempt.
Right.
LeBon's lift is a good lift, majority decision. Good lift for LeBon. She gets credit for 106 kilos.
Movimiento válido.
107 kilos now for LD Paredes, Peru. This is her third and final attempt in the clean and jerk. 107 kilos, Paredes, Peru.
Un kilo más, 107 para LD Paredes de Perú.
Good lift, 3 white lights, LD Paredes, Peru.
Movimiento válido.
She finishes with 107 kilos in the clean and jerk and 80 kilos in the snatch. Our next lifter is from Puerto Rico, Gilielis Guzman, 111 kilos, third attempt.
111 kilos para Gilielis Guzmán de Puerto Rico.
$111 kilos, Guzman.
La llamada Guzmán de Puerto Rico con 111 kilos.
That is a no lift for Guzman at 111 kilos. No lift.
Movimiento nulo para Guzmán.
Also requesting 111 kilos, our next athlete is Rosiv Silgado of Colombia. Silgado, 111 kilos, third and final attempt.
El llamado con los mismos 111 kilos es para Rosip Silgado de Colombia.
Y cambiamos antes de la...
Era 120, no 112.
No, pedimos. Nosotros no teníamos pedido nada.
Sí.
No, eso no lo van a cambiar.
Si no, no
Verificar, por favor, el cambio.
No lift for Silgado at 111 kilos. No lift.
Movimiento nulo para Silgado.
Our next weight is 114 kilos. 114 for Nicaragua, Nancy Sema, third attempt.
114 kilos para el tercer intento de Nancy Sema de Nicaragua.
Ahí esquiva todo.
No lift, Sema, 114 kilos.
Movimiento nulo para Sema.
115 kilos is the weight being requested now for Kisia Gicho.
115 kilos para Kisia Quicho de México.
Mexico's Gicho.
Mira, y con 30 minutos de estar una competencia original, en una competencia genuina.
No lift recorded for Gicho. No lift. 3 reds.
Movimiento nulo para México.
Another kilo now, 116 kilos. 116 kilos for Maria Escobar of Ecuador. She was successful at 113. Third attempt, 116 kilos, Escobar.
116 kilos para Alexandra Escobar de Ecuador.
Bien, pues.
Good lift for Escobar at 160 kilos. 2 lifts.
Para Ecuador.
2 lifts remaining, 2 lifters left. We're going to go to Venezuela for Yuslades Figueroa, 120 kilos, final attempt in the clean and jerk.
Último intento con 120 kilos para Yusley de Venezuela.
Vamos. Vamos. No te confíes. Vamos. No bajas, fuerte de espalda, una cara, vamos. Negociarlo todo. Eso, empuja, empuja y tranca rápido las piernas. Tranca duro.
Good lift, Figueroa, 120 kilos. 1 lift left. It belongs to the athlete in the women's 64 kilo Group A session from Canada. Du Canada, Maude Charon. Final attempt.
Último intento con 130 kilos para Maude Charon de Canadá.
La premiación ahora.
No lift, Canada. No lift. This concludes the lifting portion of this session with the women. Ceremony. The gold medalist in the 59 kilo category in the total is Yusledis Figueroa. Silver medal goes to Maria Escobar Guerrero, and it is the bronze medal goes to Kisia Guicho of Mexico. That's the medals in the 59 kilo category. Our medals will be awarded now in the 64 kilo category. The gold medalist representing Canada, Maude Charon. The silver medalist from Nicaragua, Nancy Sema. And receiving the bronze medal, Rosiv Silgado of Colombia. Congratulations to all of our medalists. Our medals will be mailed out to the to our participants in this as well. Every participant in this will receive themselves a certificate of appreciation. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the women's 59 and 64 kilo category. A special thanks out to our athletes who joined us online, our referees who did the same, and all of the organizers. This isn't possible without the technical expertise of the International Weightlifting Federation and the Pan American Weightlifting Federation, who has put together a lot of work here as well. I'm Richard Mason. Hope to see you again in just a few moments' time for the women's 71 kilo category. This is the first ever online Pan American Cup of weightlifting brought to you by ZKC. Thanks.